Let's bring Adam Schefter in here for more. Hey, Adam, on Daniel Jones and this injury, what's next now for the Colts?
Laura, this is a difficult situation for Daniel Jones and the Colts. Obviously, Daniel Jones first will have to find a surgeon and schedule the surgery, which obviously will end the season. As for the Indianapolis Colts, they will have to find a replacement for Daniel Jones. The first one you would think of would be Riley Leonard, except for the fact that he banged his knee yesterday, had knee soreness today, and the Colts are uncertain about whether Riley Leonard can play Sunday at Seattle against the tough Seahawks defense. If he can't play, the only other quarterback on the roster currently is the practice squad quarterback Brett Rippon. Anthony Richardson remains on injured reserve after fracturing his orbital bone in a pregame warm-up in October, so they really are decimated at the position right now. Riley Leonard would seem to be next, and obviously you hope that Daniel Jones can get well as soon as possible. His contract was set to expire this offseason. He was set to become a free agent. Obviously, it was a difficult situation to have to go through yesterday, and a difficult situation ahead for Daniel Jones and the Colts.
And more from Adam throughout the show. There's a lot of news flying around. Dan, you hear the report there on Riley Leonard's knee, but let's say he is healthy enough to go. Is he good enough to keep the Colts' playoff hopes alive?
I liked a lot of the things that Riley Leonard did yesterday. I thought he moved well. I thought he threw the ball well. I thought he threw the ball better yesterday than he had in college and many times. But the three major injuries are the concern. Riley Leonard still has perimeter players. Michael Pittman Jr. was really good. You saw him move the pocket, get outside, use his athleticism, find players like Alec Pierce, Tyler Warren. So is he good enough to keep them afloat for a game or two? Yes. To keep their playoff hopes alive is hard. The loss of DeForest Buckner, the loss of Sauce Gardner, now Daniel Jones. And I would say this for the Daniel Jones loss. It's not only a massive loss for this year because the playoffs are absolutely in question, it's also for next year. If anybody's been paying attention to Atlanta, Kirk Cousins, the Achilles injury 2 years ago, he did not look good last year. He looks much different as a player and moving-wise this year. So it's not only impacting this year, I think it's going to very much so impact the position in Indianapolis next year.
Yeah, it's a good point, although an unfortunate point. Indianapolis, by the way, lost 3 consecutive games after that 8-2 start where they looked unstoppable. That means now, as we look at the AFC South, the Jaguars are in the driver's seat to win the AFC South. Jacksonville has a 56% chance to win the division, according to ESPN Analytics, followed by Houston at 33%, while Indy, you see him down there just to 11% following that 3-game losing streak and the Jones injury. RC, let's start with Indy. How are you feeling about them the rest of the way? You heard the contacts there on the quarterback, but there's other injuries that have been key to what's happened here.
I mean, if you're the Indianapolis coach, you have to feel like someone shattered your playoff window, not that your playoff window closed. You look at early on in this season, and they didn't have really one of those quality wins. We didn't know the Denver Broncos were going to turn into who they are, and it took a penalty on a field goal attempt to get them that win as well. And so now you see the Pittsburgh Steelers, you play the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Texans, the Chiefs, all of these teams in the playoff hunts, plus the injuries, and it's just so difficult to win. And you look at what Riley Leonard was able to do. One, I'm a huge fan, right, because I got to watch him take the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to the national championship. But if I'm somebody like Russell Wilson, I'm going to run upstairs and say, hey, man, fire me. Right, wave me right now, and maybe I can go play for this Indianapolis Colts team who has some pieces around that I can help win and get to the playoffs. Because right now, this team went all in. Sauce Gardner hurt, and now Daniel Jones. He was the reason you felt like you didn't need to have a quarterback in the first round next year.
That's interesting. They got to make a move quick for sure. Marcus, who do you like in that AFC South the rest of the way? As you see the percentage chances there, the Jaguars and Texans there at 1 and 2.
It's Houston. This defense is vintage, but not only are they vintage as far as stopping you, they turn the football over. And when you look at this defense in totality, everybody gets excited about the pressures and the sacks and the plays that they make. Find me a hole. Find me something you can attack in the Houston Texans defense. It doesn't exist. And I think, too, like we saw CJ, the thing that I liked about Houston last night, and even though it wasn't this phenomenal performance, C.J. Stroud moved out of the pocket, made some critical throws, third down situations, extended some drives. And if you telling me that the Houston Texans offensive line and offense is not going to give games away, the defense is going to take some. So I look at that team right now in this division, as a dominant team. I think they can run it the rest of the way.
I think with those two nationally televised primetime games against the Bills and then the Chiefs, the Texans aren't going to sneak up on anybody. I think they're in the conversation. The Jaguars, though, the Jaguars play at 1 o'clock. Maybe it's not always the top crew. Yesterday we had, Ian Eagle and J.J. Watt. The Jaguars are doing it quietly, silently, and I thought Trevor Lawrence had a really interesting soundbite yesterday. Let's take a listen.
We all feel like we're a really good team and probably don't get the credit we deserve, and everybody talks about every other team, and even in our own division, it's all these other teams that are going to go, win the division and do all these things, and nobody really cares about the Jags, which is fine. It's kind of just how it is, and we'll use that as a chip on our shoulder.
And they will galvanize around that.
He's like, it's fine, it's fine.
But, he's wearing that cool leather jacket from the old school Fred Taylor Day Jaguars. I like that. But his point is this. We don't care about all you on TV. We will have what we have in this locker room, and we'll just keep on winning and being just fine.
All right, well, they might not enjoy then what I'm about to say.
Give him some shine, Mina.
We give notes. Ryan, what was my note for this game?
Lawrence, ball the F out.
That was it. I texted in the chat. I was like, did I just watch
that on the lower third?
Analysis, y'all. Did I just watch the best game of Trevor Lawrence's career? And I think there were some games in 2022 that were maybe similar, but I was stunned by his performance in this game. Pouring rain, by the way, unbelievably accurate, throwing downfield, making throws on the move, which has been a part of his game I always love. When he rolls to his left, he's got great natural arm talent, making good decisions, ball security in the rain on sneaks and ball handling and fakes. It was just a complete performance. As we think about the broader AFC landscape, which was the concept here, there's no perfect team. But if that offense is explosive and Brian Thomas Jr. is catching the ball the way he did in this game, they can compete with anyone.
And also, too, thank you, Trevor. About time you say something. About time you step up and say, you know what, we hear what y'all saying, but we can play here, too. And if you think about that offense did show up for 3 quarters in Houston against the Houston Texans.
That's a great point. Maybe the best of any offense against Houston. Chicago entered Sunday holding the top spot in the NFC. But with the loss, this is kind of nuts. Look how far they fell. They fell to the final wild card spot in the conference. Green Bay boasts a 68% chance to win the NFC North, according to ESPN Analytics, while Chicago's chances fell to 22%. That's just how important that game was. Oh, look at the boat ride there. By the way, that's not in Green Bay. That's here in L.A. Marcus, how did Jordan Love get it done yesterday?
RC mentioned it, man. It looked like when we was growing up running from dogs in the neighborhood. You just run away.
Run away, man.
Run away from people. And you look at Jordan Love, it was so much ease and comfort in him pushing the ball down the field because he was throwing to an area on the field and not a guy. I love the fact that they responded to this man coverage this way, though. We talked about Green Bay and being explosive. I like that they didn't get away from the run. Josh Jacobs still had 20 carries. But when you look at all of these throws, they were all in man-to-man coverage. Some were off pressure, obviously, and it was just speed, beating guys to the spot. And I think if Green Bay lives in this vein, especially with how much pressure that defense can generate, if they explosive like this offensively, this is going to be a very hard team to beat on their way to a Super Bowl.
Christian Watson came back in Week 8. Since he's come back, this offense is different. The guys, when it comes to leading the NFL in yards per target, Jamison Williams is number 1 at 12 yards. JSN is number 2 at 11.8, and then 3, Christian Watson. The 2 touchdown passes that he has are fantastic. 1, Jordan blocks up all-out pressure, but it's not really all-out pressure. And then the 3rd and 3, when Jordan changes the play at the line of scrimmage, you're just starting to see an evolution from a wide receiver. 3-by-0, this is the formation Ryan was talking about. And here comes pressure, but with the really 7.5-man protection. The backside corner's got the tight end, so it's a little bit of a chip, and then he's waiting. You take Reed, you pull down that backside safety, and then Watson has 15 yards of space to just chase with speed. That's 2/3 of the field of green grass that the quarterback has to throw to, but understanding the protection was a great deal. Look at Jordan change the route here. Wiping it off, meaning, hey, we want to fake the screen here, okay? Reed is going to go to the flat. Christian Watson is going to pretend like he's going to block, step on 1,000 hands, 1, 2, 3, and then go on that skinny slant right now, ball out on 3rd and 3, and you're just going to run away from him. We've talked about it for the past week of how much he has grown. I truly believe he's ascended to a number 1 wide receiver in this offense, and if he stays healthy, this offense will no longer be a dink and dunk pass game.
RC, on the defensive side, what stood out for Green Bay?
That Jeff Hafley is absolutely diabolical. And in Green Bay, y'all better get used to this year and be happy because he's going to be gone.
Oh, yeah.
The things that he was doing defensively with his pressure packages were absolutely phenomenal. Now, Michael Parsons is going to get the inside pressure here, but he's going to drop Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper. And so if you're Caleb Williams, you think, okay, we have 2 dropping backers. Wait. Quay Walker with the hesitation, and now he's going to add to the rush. Michael Parsons wins inside right now, and they're able to flush Caleb Williams. Now, here's what I love about this look. They're going to be 7 men on the line of scrimmage. You're going to drop Edgerrin Cooper out from the line of scrimmage. He's going to play the middle backer, and you're also going to have a flat defender. With the pressure, they're going to get a wrap or a twist by Rashawn Gary and also Michael Parsons. And now with zone eyes, you can see the quarterback and have break. Now, Michael Parsons, he's always going to blitz, right? They're always going to bring him. Absolutely not. Now he drops out, and he becomes a middle runner in a 0 coverage. Right now, guys have an opportunity to have eyes and vision to the quarterback. It's a great zone pressure with 2 high. I love everything that Jeff Hafley was able to do on 3rd down yesterday, and I felt like he really made things difficult to read for Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams.
I'm going to talk about the Bears offense, but briefly I want to say something else. Watching those pressures, Micah Parsons is playing such unselfish football in Green Bay. So much of what they do is predicated on him. They do a lot to get one-on-ones for him, but they also do a lot for him to get matchups for other people because of all the contention he commands, as well as dropping into coverage, as you highlighted there. Okay, so it's not a moral victory because obviously they lost. But if I'm a Bears fan, I feel pretty damn good about the second half of this football game. And there were a couple things that jumped out to me. Obviously, the resilience after well, they were awful in the first half, let's be honest. That drive at the end of the 3rd quarter, leading into the 4th, that was just Bears football. It was 8.5 minutes just grinding them down with runs. And then Ben Johnson not only not abandoning the run in terms of, the second half when they were playing from behind, but it was almost all play, astounding level of play action, 78%, which is crazy in the second half. And you see teams go away from that when they fall behind. But he knew, okay, Green Bay is still going to try to stop the run, stay committed to it, stay committed to the play action, and then the quarterback made some really special plays. So I feel like Bears defense, I got some concerns. We'll talk about that later. But the Bears offense, I think that you feel good about what you saw there.
And the Bills, look at this, now occupy the top wild card spot in the AFC ahead of their pivotal meeting with the Patriots this Sunday. Following the Pats game, Buffalo finishes the season with games against Cleveland, Philly, and the Jets. So this one's really important. Mina, why was that Buffalo offense so effective yesterday?
Well, first, Josh Allen did Josh Allen things. I mean, some of the scrambles, the throw to Shakir that he made on the extended play was just stupid, one-of-one types plays. But I also thought Joe Brady and the offense as a whole did a great job of attacking the Bengals' weaknesses on defense, specifically that young linebacker group. They had a 53% play action rate, the highest of the season, through to the tight ends over and over. Just smart, focused football. Didn't try to create explosives when they weren't there, took what was available to them, and obviously it worked out. But yeah, Josh Allen, Winter Soldier mode activated.
No doubt.
And, yeah, it was
he loves it, right, Danny? He lives for that.
I love the Winter Soldier. Josh Allen has 34 touchdowns right now. That's second in the NFL behind Matthew Stafford, who leads at 35, who's like the runaway MVP with Drake May. And this is a down year. And, Kay, it feels like for the season we've been trying to figure out what was the Bills' offense going to become. Perimeter players, how good are the receivers, the tight ends, can they stay healthy? I really think yesterday, if you could find the perfect game plan, it was that one. You talk about the play action, number 1, under center. This is that power pass that they've run multiple times yesterday. Pull the backside guard, downhill fake, snap your head around, linebackers step down, replace the linebackers with the tight end. That's vintage, almost New England Patriots from years ago with Rob Gronkowski. Lifted the coverage. You get a huge chunk explosive throw, but it's a very easy, in many ways, safe throw. Once again, under center, this time 22 personnel, 2 back, 2 tight end. Full flow from the offensive line. Look at the protection that you can guarantee your quarterback, and you don't have to throw the ball downfield. You can take your shot if it's there, but if the defense gets deep, easy check down. This is the decision-making that you were referencing. And then creativity. Once again, the opportunity to do it this time in the gun. You start in 4x1. You motion away from 4x1. You get the 4x1. You pull the center this time. Ball fake, the tailback. This is the one when Cook a couple weeks ago scores down in the red zone. But the defenders are just trailing with him. I mean, guys, I've given you 3 clips, 3 completions. They've gone for over 75 yards, and the ball never traveled past 10 yards down the field. And so you talked about it, 17 times play action, most. 159 yards, most. 7 10-plus yard plays, most. And touchdown passes, too. So I know we're critical of the wide receivers, and it may show itself again. But if you're Buffalo, this is the formula for what your game plan should be moving forward.
I think it goes without saying with everyone on this show for sure. We love what we do for a living, and we're grateful to do it. But there's some games and some moments where you're just like, I can't believe I'm paid to talk about this.
Yeah.
He was so good yesterday, and he was so exciting. You mentioned the Shakir play. Can we see it? This is a 4th down and back against the wall. Look at Josh Allen here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm going to use my legs. Wait, I'm going to stop. I'm going to go back. And then I'm going to throw it within 3 guys for a touchdown. Look, I know we came into this season, we were saying Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow have to knock off Patrick Mahomes. Well, Patrick Mahomes seems to be knocked off. I don't know if we're going to see Burrow in January, and I don't know if we're going to see much of Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen is surging right now.
Yeah.
Josh Allen was the MVP last year, and you mentioned Stafford and May. There's still 4 weeks left in this season. We might be talking at NFL Honors about Josh Allen, the MVP, once again.
NFC West continues to be one of the tighter divisions. The Rams and Seahawks both sitting at 10-3. 49ers not far behind, despite some of the issues they've dealt with this season with injuries. They're at 9-4. ESPN Analytics gives the Rams a 60% chance to win the division. So, Marcus, as you look at that division, sorry, the sound is so loud in here.
It's so loud.
And it
Every
finally
time.
stopped a little bit, but now I don't know what's going on. All right, either way, who is the scariest team in this division when you look ahead to the playoffs when it comes to the NFC West?
Staffords.
That's
The
team.
Matthew Staffords.
The fighting Matthew Stafford?
Listen, the Rams, I think, first of all, I think the Rams are a team that has a significant margin of error that they can have and still win football games. Obviously, that doesn't sound great after we saw what happened in Carolina. But if you look at that game in Carolina, they still had opportunities to win that game with the turnovers, which is very unlikely for Matthew Stafford. But you think about Puka Nacua, you think about Devontae in the red area. This team still prides themselves on being physical with Kyron Williams and Corum in the backfield. Sean McVay, obviously, the offensive mind. But the quarterback is playing at an MVP level. The quarterback also has the belief from everybody around him being a Super Bowl champion already that when we get into the tournament, we have the best guy on the field at that position. I think that's going to bode well, especially in the NFC now, where we'll have teams in the playoffs with questions about if their quarterbacks can really do it or not.
Can the viewers at home hear the beat drop? Because it just dropped, and and I'm like,
it's kind of been, we kind of had some techno vibes.
This
in
is
here,
great.
right?
What
Yeah.
you doing?
The truth of the matter is, Niners were on a
I
bye.
felt better about it when you did it. But
Yeah, that's it. It looked good. Niners were on a bye, so if you're a Niners fan throwing something at the TV saying, why aren't you talking about us? We will, don't worry. Seahawks had a really dominant win, and they got an emergence of a player who I think is going to play a big difference. They play in 2 weeks against the Rams. Nick Amanwari was unbelievable in this game. If you look at Nick's numbers here, interception, 6 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, a sack, a pass breakup, and then he was all over the place, so much so he had the blocked field goal on this as well. Woo. When you start getting your second-round draft picks stepping up in Week 14 and like, actually let me go the player of the game, let me insert myself, that's something that wasn't there the first time they played the Rams. So fascinating to see how this all plays out. They play in 2 weeks. I can't wait for it.
Steelers now occupy the top spot in the AFC North. ESPN Analytics favors the Ravens to win 3 of their 4 remaining games, including Week 18 in Pittsburgh. The Steelers favor to win 2 of their 4 remaining games. If that scenario played out, Baltimore would be division champs. So, Mina and RC, they're still in it. It's just going to have to go their way, right?
Yeah, it's unlikely. Like that touchdown we thought he actually scored. Mina, last year.
An unlikely touchdown?
Yeah, unlikely. Mina, listen, last year this offense was off the charts, and Lamar Jackson was second in MVP voting. What was one of the glaring things from this game that you think kept them from having an opportunity to win?
It's been an issue that's plagued them the entire season, red zone execution. And I actually thought Lamar Jackson started looking a little more like himself as the game went on. But in the fourth quarter, even on good drives, field goal, then you have the likely touchdown that turns out to be not touchdown, and then you saw something that you see so often, which was a bad run in the red zone. And I just checked, inside the 10-yard line this year, the Ravens are 31st in success rate running the football, ahead of only the New York Jets. The Baltimore Ravens, who are 30th league-wide in red zone percentage, touchdown percentage, generally, when you watch so often when things get tight, the offensive line just isn't getting the push that they got last year. So you have these unsuccessful runs. Suddenly it's second and long. Suddenly, you got your pass catchers in tight coverage, and it's just been an issue all year long.
You know what was one of the crazy things about that, though? Baltimore was the ultimate, we're running the football and you can't stop us.
Not anymore.
Team. And I think that's what's changed about this team. Also, too, the present and the danger of Lamar Jackson with the football in his hand. Early on in that game, you saw T.J. Watt with 2 times. He just ran down the line of scrimmage because he knew that Lamar Jackson wouldn't have the football in his hand on the outside. And then, to me, it was the pressure on third down early as well. We saw a sack by Echols. There was a big play in a zero coverage that was actually negated by a hold by Joey Porter Jr. But even as they got things going in the second half, they just couldn't finish in the end zone, even outside of that likely play.
Yeah, I think on some of the pass game, I talked about the run game and the offensive line, Lamar's legs are actually a huge factor. Yeah. Guys used to be wide open last year, and a big part of the reason why they were wide open was the effect that Lamar's gravitational pull had on second-level defenders. When that's gone, suddenly the pass-catching group is a little bit more exposed.
Yeah, I think the thing about the pass-catching group is outside of Zay Flowers, they don't create separation. Yeah. We know who DeAndre Hopkins is. Bateman hasn't been what you expected him to be. I do feel like they need to incorporate Keaton Mitchell more in this offense, and not only the run game, but the pass game, because you saw that explosive run from him. I think he's the guy that could change the dynamics of what this offense is, Lord.
Amari got one. Yeah. We got Petrie got one. Yeah. And a Z. Yeah. Hey, way to finish there at the end, man. Way to run the ball. Way to finish when we needed it most. Way to finish. Great team win. We did what we came to do, all right? And since we did what we came to do, I'll see you guys on Wednesday.
That's it.
He said, I got my knee okay. Peter, why has this Texans defense taken things to the next level in recent weeks? They've always been good, but they've certainly become more center-stage.
I think Mina nailed it, and it was so eloquent how you said it. It's not a coincidence that everyone drops passes against the Texans. When you've got underneath guys who are hitters, and then you've got all world defensive backfield, you can do that. Matt Burke is a defensive coordinator. He calls the plays, but DeMeco Ryans is really the philosophy center. Look at the spreading out of all these interceptions. These are 4 players who could all be all pros this season. That's how good they have been at the defensive back position. And then you've got those linebackers who all are Johnny on the spot and will all hit you. We had them in a Monday night game against the Seahawks, and it was Louis Riddick, myself, and Dan Orlovsky. We talked to DeMeco Ryans in a production meeting, and he said, look, the way we play, it's not for everybody. I tell these guys, if you're not going to hit and you're not going to cover and you're not going to have everyone's back, that's fine. There might be a place for you in the NFL. It's just not for me. Yeah. And they all have bought in, and I think it's the top defense in the league.
In 2008, I played for a Pittsburgh Steelers defense that hit people. We ran to the ball, and we turned the football over. This defense is extremely similar. And sometimes you focus on the Troy Palomalus and the James Harrisons, and some of these other guys go unnoticed. It's the same thing on this defense. You might not hear about Jalen Petrie all the time, but he's a player that makes everything go. He can play the nickel, the safety position. Here you're going to see him in man-to-man with Juju Smith-Schuster, and watch him undercut this route because he knows that Kalen Bullock is on top. He's going to get one hand up, tip the football in the air, and now locate it. And now Kamari Lassiter is the corner that plays opposite Derek Stingley. Derek Stingley, to me, is the top 2 corner in the league. Here, he's going to be beat on the double post by Tyquan Thornton. And we're going to see the first post is going to move Kalen Bullock out the middle, and Jalen Petrie is going to be a little bit short on the carry. Watch the way that Kamari Lassiter runs to the pocket and punches this football out on Tyquan Thornton. Some guys would just try to make the tackle, be physical in the end, but this team is so ball savvy. He was a guy, Mina talks about it all the time, at Georgia, you didn't know he'd be this sort of ball aware, but he's made play after play for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, he's a great tackler, but that coverage was just so impressive. Flipping it to the other side of the Texans offense, which we haven't really talked about outside of C.J. Stroud's ability to extend there, I thought it was very instructive looking at the difference between what his skill players were able to do versus what Patrick Mahomes is. It felt like the Texans had a physicality advantage and the Chiefs had a physicality disadvantage, and that was really vivid throwing over the middle of the field. On in-breakers, C.J. was 10 of 15 in this game. Mahomes on in-breakers was 2 of 10. Woo. His receivers do not have the size or the strength to win against this Texan secondary, but on the flip side, Nico Collins and Jaden Higgins do. I said this at the top of the show. one of these teams had Nico Collins and one of them didn't, and you might have had a different result if not for that. And as we spin things forward with the Texans, the defense is the identity of the team. But that, to me, has become the identity of this offense. We are bigger and stronger than you at receiver. We're going to win over the middle of the field.
Yeah, and C.J. Stroud has won big games. He's won playoff games. To go into Arrowhead and to just lay that leveling blow to this Chiefs dynasty, like, that's a major win for C.J. Stroud. You look around that locker room, you're like, all right, guys, we can do this.
Yeah.
Year 3, they've been to the Final Four in the AFC 2 years in a row. Is this the year they take it to the next level?
Well, I think the big thing for C.J. Stroud is I remember when he played against Georgia in the college football playoff, and we were all like, oh, wait, C.J. Stroud can absolutely
run.
He can actually
he can
move.
throw that bomb.
And now you're starting to see that more and more from him.
Playmaking.
I feel like there was a stretch right before he got injured where he started to come along, and he also started to find some protection, and we saw the confidence begin to rise. I believe watching Davis Mills from the sideline and saying to himself, oh, my goodness, if we just protect the football, if we make plays when there's opportunities, we can win every single football game. I felt like last night he went above and beyond the X's and O's, and there's 2 plays to Nico Collins and also 2 to Higgins across the middle that show you what the physicality of those wide receivers has done for his confidence.